All right, time for another one here. We got the Agua Caliente Cultural Museum. These are those dual lit Bitro letters, painted returns. They're going to be hanging off that steel structure on a curve, all hanging off the little brackets and all that. So I got everything all set up for that. So just going to go over production. You know, it's not going to be too difficult. There's just going to be some stuff we want to make sure you don't do out of order. Got to make sure things are taken care of. But otherwise, it's not too crazy. So let's get after it. We'll start with the lay of the land. So we're going to have Raceway parts. I got Raceway body parts here. You're not really going to have like a bunch of little jigs. These are pretty much just going to be 3x5. It's going to turn into almost an extrusion. So we're not going to have a lot of internal jigs. But just keep an eye out for everything's got labels on it. Make sure the reference kisses get taken care of. And then we'll have the backer contours. They're going to have reference kisses for the dog bones. Or not reference kisses, island fill. So make sure those are not all the way through. And then we do have some inside reference kisses for these guys here. Those rovels, we'll go over these. And then the jigs and the tops. So I'm just calling them the lids and the jigs. So the green as we do, these are the internal jigs that are basically going to hold the whole thing together. And then we have a top lid that extends over a little bit. We have a bottom, or actually the bottom lid has all the dog bones in it. The top lid just seals it all up. So power stuff, not too crazy. I just got a simplified birdhouse because there's not gonna be a lot of room. So simplified birdhouse for the switch. And then we're gonna go Keystone because again, we don't have much room. So I don't know how many we'll need, but I got provisions for 3. So these are gonna be Keystone mounts, keeping out for those. These are gonna be the mounting blocks, 1/4 inch, keeping out for those. I got 17. And then each of the specialized arms coming down, a la the Javianas, you know, kind of thing though. I have them all laid out here with labeling. So make sure all this is on there when you go to pick them off the table or whatever, make sure they have the reference kisses. And then these guys here, well, I'll explain what these are for, but these are going to be 3/8 aluminum with a routed out channel. So these are going to be for wire, running wire. And then for install, I'd like to keep it aluminum and not Sintra or something like that because the Sintra can be stretchy or whatever. So I'd like to see some thin, maybe drop if we have some 040 or some 050 drop that will fit, or even some 063. We don't need to 090 these, but if we've got something laying around, even 080 or something that's laying around that we can get these out of, that'd be great. But these are just install templates. Make sure we get those to install. You've got your letters, just the usual Bitro, you know, routed down. Because we have a potential for shadow, we are just going to tap these for 1024. We are not going to, don't be looking for tap, you know, for knock-in brass inserts because these are sunk down and I don't want to see a shadow because these are very small. So, and then we're going to do 3/16 clear Tuff-Ac. I know sometimes we do 1/8, but because this is going to sandwich the letter onto the backer, I wanted that strength more than the 1/8. So the 3/16 will give it some density for clamping those down. So it is in 2 parts basically, right? Well, the Raceway is in 4 parts, but I'm talking about you're going to have the metal part that hangs down, and then we're going to just be building, you know, the Bitro letters on that part of it, and then attaching it, you know, at the end. So let's go over getting the Raceway built first. So nothing crazy here. You're going to have a backside. I have it labeled as 1, 2, and 3. So you've got section 1 and section 2, which actually is a connected one piece. So you're going to have, you can see where this Agua here is going to be split. So there's one chunk of box here, and then there's another chunk of box here. Then that looks like this. So where this orange is, you've got one section and another section, but it actually is held together by the backer. So keep in mind that once you get that built right here, once you get this built, this is going to be kind of wobbly. So you're going to have to make sure that this gets treated with respect because all it is going to be the 09 holding it together. Same thing on this side. You're going to have basically, this is going to be one section, even though it's only going to have, it's going to have 2 separate boxes. So whether there's a temporary way of trying to hold that together, just to make sure it makes it through prep and install. But you can see where, yeah, we basically got to secure that right there. And same thing on this side. You got to secure this and this together somehow, other than the backer. The backer might be enough to keep it, getting too crazy, but just we got to make sure we treat it with respect. The other two in the middle, they're in the 60s as far as length. They're about 5 feet. They'll be strong enough, but again, just make sure that these guys here. So you're just going to build it just as it is. You got the backer here with the hole, and then you got the front part that's going to have the mounting plates. Now these mounting plates are 1/4 inch. I'm saying that you're going to want to cleco in the mounting blocks to get them in there, because before you assemble it around the jigs, around the top and the bottom jigs, just because you can see, I have it here, I have it kind of blown up. I have a 1/16 of space between this, the top jig and the bottom jig, the green here, the top and the bottom jig are here. I have a 1/16, but I'm not sure if you assemble the Raceway first, if you can get those blocks in there and then turn them and get them where you need them to put them. So I'm suggesting that you go ahead and cleco these onto the front of the face all the way along first, then bring it in and connect it and weld it up. That way you can access it. So they're going to be doing the tap flex bolts install, because these are going into, it could be 1/2 inch steel, but I think it's closer to 3/8 steel structure. This thing's crazy thick. So with 2 C's. And so they're going to be running tap flex through there. And then that tap flex is going to sandwich onto the 1/4 inch plate. And then that's how this whole thing's being held up there. These things are not that big, but Bitro adds up in weight. So let's just make sure that this plate gets welded to the top and bottom really well. That way we're good to go. Then once you get this structure made, without the lids first, you just go ahead and get all these little structures put together. Once these structures are all set, you'll just pay attention to, there's gonna be a lot of reference kissing, but each of these reference kisses is going to correspond to which leg, which arm, basically, whatever, leg or arm, whatever you want to call it. So whichever arm goes up in there, you want to make sure it goes into proper order. While we're here, yeah, probably do this after you put the legs in. Yeah, so we'll get the legs in next. So build this structure here, get all this structure set, and then you're going to want to put the bottom skin on. Now I know I preach, weld first, then lords, but obviously you're not going to be able to get this bottom skin on after, you're not going to be able to get this on after you put the legs on. So, and the legs I'm talking about are over here. So each of these legs is going to have a corresponding, so you can see I have AA, and then there's the U and the A, and these are, A1 is the same. So you don't have to juggle that around. Now the G obviously does not have legs. It is being connected by the backer. So there's a AA, the U and the A. You slide those in, and then you're going to tack them in place. Make sure obviously they radiate out, but that you're just going to be able to put it, and you're just going to tack it to the jig that's on the inside there. But like I said, you're not going to be able to get the skin on, obviously, the bottom skin around this part. So you are going to have to lords this on first and then tack. Now the tack will be far enough away, I think, from the skin that it shouldn't cause any issue. And we want to make sure that these arms are welded in properly, but feel free to burn the top, because you can leave the top skin off. Okay. So you can slide this in. So you're going to lords bottom skin on, and then you're going to slide this through, and you can burn to the top, and you can actually put your heat into that. And then you can put a little heat there, but just keep in mind that we don't jack this up and warp it too much, that we want the bottom skin to come loose. Possibly throw in some safety rivets along the bottom, who knows? But anyway, but as long as it's welded up pretty good, it doesn't have to be crazy. This is never going to go anywhere. So that's it. So yeah, build up your Raceway first, get it all tacked up really well inside, and then lord your bottom on, at least the bottom. Then you can slide in all your arms, slide them all in, and then burn them to the top there and to the bottom there. Now the top and the bottom jigs, the top jigs will have 16th ref kit, these will be island fills for you. So you can slot the thing right into the top, and it'll be all squared for you. And again, I have, M1, L1, A2, just follow along and make sure the right stick goes in the right spot. And then you'll see the bottom though has this this little added hole. This is where we're doing the Javianas power, what do you call it, the tubing or whatever we're doing. So I'm bringing in another length. You have the part that's already there. That should be enough to get you cracking, but I'm bringing in another length. And then, so it doesn't have to be on every one. So if you follow along here where I have power with a green, it's these ones here. So you have power on this U, and the first A is the power. So you're going to bring that around, and then you can skip this one. And then it's pretty much every one of the letters on Caliente except the E. This one's just structural. This one's power. So you'll be able to tell that by which one of these has the added little hole thing. So if it's just a straight dog bone, obviously no power. But if it has this little, eye dot on the backside, that's where you're going to be able to feed in that tubing. So I'm thinking the best way to do this will be to go ahead and get this all assembled, and then where that hole is here, and then the hole in the backer, which will be here, obviously, right? You can maybe do this after, so get it all tacked in, and then you can sort of feed it up in, and then kind of bend it around, and then try to shove a piece in. The other thing I was thinking might work is that go ahead and leave, because you're going to want to do, we're doing a 3/4 inch spacing right here. What you might want to do is leave the, excuse me, leave the tubing long, and then go ahead and put the tubing up in. And obviously the tubing only needs to go into the Raceway a little bit. So it could just be like right here, and that's fine. And then run it through and actually let it go long, like an inch or so. And then go ahead and either tack it or do whatever you do. Remember, this stuff is super soft. Don't burn through. You might just want to tack it on the inside here. Maybe tack it to the jig as it pokes through right here. Just tack it to the jig, and then maybe put a tack like right here, or on the other side. It's up to you. But what I'm thinking is leave that tubing long, and then what you can do is come back and mark it at 3/4, because we're going to use 3/4 spacer, and then just duck saw it and go along, and then you can just duck saw each of these off at 3/4, and now you have a built-in spacer for power, and then it can be painted and all that, so you don't have to worry about it, and it'll just be all in one piece there. So it's up to you. Or you can go ahead and flush cut it, and then add a spacer for your power cable like you usually do. It's up to you guys, whatever you think. But I think it might be easier to just leave a little long tube, and then that way you can just deal with it later, and gives you a little bit of play, But again, you just want to try to match this. I purposely made this a nice round arc for you, so that way you can try to match that bend as best as possible. But as you can see, each of these is they're all kind of custom depending on where they land on the letter. So each one's going to be its own length, but that radius right there is the same radius for every one of them. So it's kind of custom there. So if you want to actually take one of these and sort of pre-bend some chunks, if you want to just like take a piece of tubing and get it pre-bent to this, and then that way you can go ahead and make it work. So, but again, you won't be needing power on every one of them. It's only the ones that obviously need it, and those will have those, or just follow my lead here. So the only ones that have multiple weirdos are the E. So you'll have an E1, an E2, and an E3. All the legs have to be different to fit on the E's. So you'll have, and it starts from left to right. So you have Agua Caliente. So you'll have all your ones until you hit another one, which will be 2, and then you cruise along and you'll hit 3 and you'll hit 4. So Cultural and Museum will have the numbers will go up in weirdness. So like you can see here, there's an A2 all the way over here at Cultural, but this A is different than the other A. So that's what I'm saying. So, but for the most part, they're all ones. I was going to omit the ones, but whatever. It is what it is. Too late now. So just keep that, that's it. You just got to kind of keep your eye open, keep a sharp eye, and see what's up with all that. And again, just follow the Yellow Brick Road, but it'll tell you E3, E2. You will look inside the Raceway, you'll see that. It'll let you know exactly what's up. And then as you can see, E2 wants a power, E3 does not. So, and then the little end guys here don't need power, because let's go over that. So once you get this built and you get all the legs poking out and they're ready to receive the backers, while you're in here, let's go ahead and do that. So once you get this all built and you get the legs in, then you can tack in, because we're not going to have much room. We're going to go with Keystone 12 volts. And let's do 3 of them just in case, because I don't know how much power you need or whatever. So just bend these up, and the bends go to the inside like this, and then that way they'll face out, and then your keystone will be facing out towards for service. But you have 3 spots. You got one here, you've got one here, and you've got one here. This is where the word Agua starts. What I heard from an electrician when I was over there is he said power is over here. So I imagine power will come in here somewhere, and then they'll be able to plumb it in somehow into one of these. And then this is where it'll start. So you'll have that, you'll have that, you'll have that. Okay, fine. And then I've got the switch kind of here in the middle. This is going to be a very edited, easy, box that we normally do. We don't normally do this. Yes, the switch will poke out. We didn't have room for a birdhouse for, recessed and all patented and all that. So, but I want to make it removable. So you're just going to make a 1-2, slide it in. And then from the outside, you'll be able to see this screw and this screw here. And then the access will be through here. So you'll be able to see the switch, and you'll be able to click it, and you'll have a screw and a screw for the birdhouse. But the birdhouse is removable. Don't lords it in or anything like that. So that's that. So you'll have that switch sitting in kind of in here somewhere. I think it's like right here. I don't know. But then you'll have power, power, and power. And then that'll be enough to get secondary all the way out here. So now that we have all that set, you see how much this has got a little bit of radius, obviously, but it's not crazy. So, but I think it's still worth rolling the backers. So once you get this built, you will have your radius. Then take your backers and run them through the roller a little bit and just sort of match that radius, not too, And then theoretically, I did open these up a little bit more for play, but each of these legs, once you get them all nailed down, should be able and ready to receive the backers just like this. So it'll up and down, up and down, up and down. So that's what I'm thinking. Maybe do the tubes first, the power tubes, and then do the backers, or just try it and test fit a backer and see if it'll be easier to weld the backer first and then slide the tube through from here and work your tube up. Maybe tubes are after you weld on the backers. So again, it's like I said, this isn't difficult per se. It's just making sure that do the steps that are easiest for you and don't get yourself trapped out. But anyway, so you're going to want to run these through the roller a little bit. And then once you get these welded on, you figure out the tubes, then you're going to have these other power things. So look for these 3/8. These are going to be some billet 3/8 routed guys. And then I want a channel in there that's going to be 1/4 by 1/4. And then what you're going to do is just put it inside the reference kiss here. And then you could either choose to lords it all the way around and make it kind of look good, or put a couple of tacks, but make it look good. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. But these are just going to be a way for you to smuggle wire through to jump the A to the G. And then you're going to come around and jump the G to the U. And then that's where the Bitro power starts. So when you're looking at it from this standpoint, because we have to, basically the problem is this piece of steel that runs through here cuts this in half, or not in half, but it bisects it. So there's no way to really, other than if we have to drill through this big old honking piece of steel. So there was no way to get the G any power. So that's where, and then the A is going to be left out by itself as well. So the power in on the U is then going to run through the Bitro, and you're going to make a jumper on the Bitro tracer out, and then you're going to sneak it through this thing that you're tacked on. It's got a little 1/4-inch channel, and then you're going to have to get your needle nose pliers and kind of fish out the wire. Then that wire will have to jump to this Bitro, and then the Bitro tracer will then give power out somewhere over here, and then that will make its way, and you have to pop it out and then hook the A. So the A and the G are going to get their power from the U through these little sneaky channels here. And then it's the same thing for this M and the U, because this is that big old piece of steel that's chopping everything in half. So, and then again, this is just going to be like this is just for structure right here. There's no power that goes to this side. Same thing over here. No power goes to this little box on this side. Power stays just within the internal part here. So same thing, you'll do a special E that comes over here, and then it'll have a power out, and then it'll run around, and then you'll have to do a power jumper to the M to power these two. And the same thing. Now this one's an inch shorter, so look for this one. It's a little different, but the other ones are all the same. This one's like 5 1/8, and these are 5 1/8, and this one's 4 1/8. So make sure that one goes in the right spot. The other thing that I wasn't able to do, because Bitro, you can't mark it very well, obviously, is that yes, some of these have their own, I had to put the mounting spaces in different places. So what you're going to do is look for the reference KISS that I have for the power, and that should let you know where it goes. Now, like these two E's, I believe are the same, but if you look at the third E on Museum, it has 2 powers. That means that this mount is a little off, and then yes, this is the power that gets you to this U. Again, these 2 powers let you know that this is the Museum U, and it's not the Cultural U, because the Cultural U has, or the Agua U actually has 2 powers here because it has to jump. So this is the Agua U because it has 2 powers, and then the Cultural U only has 1, and then the other one only has 1. So these are the same U's. So the mounts are the same. So that way, yeah, blah, blah, blah. Also, I went ahead and reference kissed though the polycarb backers. So you'll have an arrow up, and then I do have a 1, a 2, a 3. So as you go along, the numbers are going to get bigger. Again, so the bigger numbers just start with Agua at the 1. So you have an A1, you have an A2, you have an A3, you have an A4, and then you work your way. So this is U number 1, and then this is U number 2, and this is U number 3, U number 4 works its way over, and then number 5. And you can see those have the weird Bitro jumps. So just kind of follow along, use this PDF. Now the backers, the clear backers will need diffuser on the back, because what I like to do is I like to keep those photons pushed forward. So we want back glow, but we don't want to lose all the photons right out the back with a clear backer. We want to keep those photons bouncing back and forth, and it's going to make the face brighter. So make sure that on the back side of these, we get the diffuser, but there should be plenty of glow out for the back as well as the front. Remember, make sure that the returns are opaqued white first, and then we opaque them for light. So remember that. Also, right here, I did my part. We need to kill the glare on the backers. Okay, these are backers. They're going to be painted. You're going to have back glow. So do our vinyl, whatever we do, but be warned. So first shop, if you're watching, we need to kill the LED glare, whatever we're doing on that, whether it's flat paint or not. So, and then the rest, yeah, it's just Bitro, you know how we do. So let's see, but I think that should be it. I think in 4 rolls of Bitro 6500, we'll bring that in. But I think that should be it. And so for install, so I'd like to keep this, like I said, just a thinner aluminum. I don't really want it to be Centra because it's too floppy and it grows in the heat and shrinks in the sun or whatever, in the cold. So what you're going to do is take this is the height of the Raceway. You're going to center this into the center of the beam. So here's your beam, 4x8, and then this is the 5-inch Raceway. So if you center it, top and bottom this way vertically, then that'll bring the letter out just right. So, but what you want to do is install this one first. This is Cultural. This should have a center line on the center of the big arc. So wherever the center, because we did make a mark on the center of the arc there. So if you line up this Raceway, and you can see how much right here, this is about how much is poking, and this is the first section Raceway. That's right here. So if you line up the center, then you can go ahead and make your mark, boom, 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 boom. And then if you want, go ahead and drill this. And then what I would do is maybe just install the section. Then what you can do is take this one and bonk it against and then mark, and then go ahead and drill and install, and then take this one and bonk it against. And then I went ahead and have this go underneath the big piece of steel that's going to be blocking this. And then that allows you to do one little quick hit over here. That way it'll keep all of these. So, because basically you have one shot right here. So in order to treat this as one shot, I went ahead and made the Raceway one shot right there and then right there. So it's kind of up to you. I went ahead and made these slotted as well, so you can kind of move them left and right. I also brought in the tap flex that we talked about. These are 3/8 tap flex because again, this is, I think, 3/8 wall steel. So bring your cutting, bring fresh drills and everything to just get through this. But I went ahead and brought those in for you, so keep an eye out for those. But these are going to be your install templates, so it should be pretty easy there. But yeah, start with cultural first and then work your way out and just bonk them. I went ahead and gave you install. I gave you 1.5 inches of spacing right here. So the Raceway, because this right here is really cruddy welds, and the welds come way out almost 1 inch. So I went ahead and gave you 1.5 inches of play for both ways there, just to make sure that you don't come up against and bonk. So I think this should work out pretty good. So, but anyway, so I think that's it. There's a lot to do. There was a lot to figure out, but I think we have it. Just make sure you're kind of going, thinking ahead a couple steps, making sure you're not going to get ahead of yourself or anything. But anyway, but as always, if you have any questions, hit me up.
Check the technique. Check the technique. See if